for life.
A very good evening. Welcome to Premier League Live this Wednesday evening on what is a huge night when it comes to the title race. Manchester City tonight need to win to ensure that this title race can have a chance at going to the final day. If they drop points tonight, Arsenal could be the winners of the title in just 5 days' time. Let's have a quick look at the state of the title race coming into this one this evening. As you can see, Arsenal sit 5 clear of City at the top of the table after their 1-0 win over West Ham at the weekend, and that late drama in that game. We'll talk all about that tonight as well. But a 5-point gap at the top means if City drop points against Crystal Palace here tonight, a win or a draw or a loss for City would mean Arsenal would have at least a 4-point gap going into next week's game against Burnley, and that could extend to 7 with a win, which would confirm the title for Arsenal. These are the permutations. So as I said, if Man City fail to beat Crystal Palace tonight, well, Arsenal will claim the title with a win against Burnley on Monday night. But if they do win tonight, Man City, well, Arsenal still can claim the title before the final day, but they won't be in action. If they win on Monday and City fail to beat Bournemouth next Tuesday, then the title would be Arsenal's, even with a Man City win tonight. It means City have to win out and hope that Arsenal drop points either at home to Burnley or away to Crystal Palace on the final day to have a chance at winning the title. These are the remaining fixtures, of course. Burnley at home for Arsenal on Sunday. Man City play Bournemouth away next Tuesday, of course, because of the FA Cup final this weekend. And on the final day, it's Aston Villa at home for Manchester City, Crystal Palace away for Arsenal. Palace could have a very telling say as to which way this Premier League title race goes, even if it does go down to the final day tonight. They could really have a massive say if they get anything at the Etihad, which you wouldn't bet against because their record hasn't been poor in the last number of seasons. But this Manchester City team are no strangers to final day drama, and they have quite a few successes under Pep Guardiola in that situation, and one a little bit before that when the title came down to the final day when they beat QPR in that Aguero moment to snatch the title from Manchester United on the final day. So if it does go down to the final day, Manchester City certainly can have it all of their own way. And we have seen it before, especially in a title race with Arsenal. If you remember, back into the 23-24 season, it went down to the final day and City won on the final day of the season to claim the title with 91 points against Arsenal's 89, and that was the start of this major rivalry. But to tonight's game, a huge game at the Etihad Stadium. City know a win is a must if they are really to make ground on Arsenal. But that draw away at Everton might have been even more damaging than dropping just 2 points. It might catapult their season into real disappointment in terms of the title front. But in terms of Arsenal, they are hoping that their London rivals can beat their title rivals or get something out of them to give Arsenal the ample opportunity to win the title in 5 days' time. Let's have a look at the two teams for this one tonight, starting with Manchester City, and some changes for City tonight. Gianluigi Donnarumma starts in goal. It's a very strange-looking team, but we believe that Mateusz Nunes is at right back, Kushanov and Gehi are the centre-backs, with Gvardiol at left-back, Ryan Ait-Nouri in midfield alongside Bernardo Silva, at 10 in Phil Foden, Savinho and Semenyo the wingers, and Omar Marmoush leading the City line. On the bench, Trafford, Diaz, Stones, Ake, Reinders, Cherky, Kovacic, Doku and Haaland. For Crystal Palace, well, their season is pretty much wrapped up. On the league front, they've got a European final to worry about in the Conference League. Dean Henderson starts in goal and captains the Palace side tonight. A back five of Daniel Munoz, JD Camvo, Maxence Lacroix, Chris Richards and Tyreek Mitchell. A midfield of Will Hughes alongside Jefferson Lerma, with a front three of Yeremy Pino, Brennan Johnson and Jean-Philippe Mateta. On the bench for Palace, Benitez, Riyad, Klein, Cardines, Kamada, Wharton, Devaney, Sarr and Strand Larsen. So City have an FA Cup final to prepare for in 3 days' time. Palace have a European final, not for 2 weeks, and their league season is done and dusted surely. A mid-table finish is probably the best they can hope for now, Palace. But they can certainly have a massive say in which way this title race will go between now and next Sunday to decide who will claim the famous trophy. And if they get anything tonight, it will be massive advantage to Arsenal. Kick-off at the Etihad Stadium between Manchester City and Crystal Palace is on the way next. A very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this Wednesday evening for this one in the Premier League. A night that could be very telling in terms of the title race. Manchester City know a win is a must if they are to keep the pressure on Arsenal and ensure that the Gunners cannot claim the title before the final day if they keep winning. That is what is at stake for City. But changed in terms of personnel tonight, ahead of an FA Cup final in 3 days' time. So it'll be intriguing to see what way this one turns out as Crystal Palace get us going at the Etihad. Remember as well, there is games in Scotland. It's not only a Premier League title race that is on the cards, it is a Scottish Premiership title race that is on the cards. There could be a title winner tonight if certain results go a certain way. If Hearts win and Celtic lose tonight, then Hearts will be champions. But if they both win or draw, then it will go down to the final day. But we'll keep you right up to date with anything that happens across those games. But here at the Etihad, our referee this evening, Stuart Atwell, John Brooks, our VAR. And it is very clear what Pep Guardiola's side have to do tonight. Win, and you give yourself another opportunity to stay in the title race for at least another week before you play Bournemouth in 6 days' time. It's going to be a very testing next week and a half for Pep Guardiola's team. 4 games that are season defining into whether they can do a domestic treble or whether they will leave with just the League Cup under their shoulders or under their arms at the end of this season. We will find out. And tonight will be a very telling first chapter in this story. The way through there is Daniel Munoz cut it apart. Remember, this is a Palace team who beat Manchester City in an FA Cup final last season, almost a year to the day. And that's a clip ball over the top by Pino, and it's Brennan Johnson in behind. He clips it across, and Mateta off the line it goes. And I think the flag's up. Well, it looked a long time for the flag to go up. He might have thought that it crossed the line there, Jean-Philippe Mateta. I certainly thought it did. We'll have to see it again. See it here. Beautiful work by Yeremy Pino. Clipped it over the top. Yeah, Brennan Johnson's just a little bit offside. And as he squares it back across, Jean-Philippe Mateta takes it nicely. And it should be... it looks like it's over the line, but it doesn't matter. Brennan Johnson in an offside position, therefore disregards it, but that would have had the Arsenal fans going absolutely mental before hearts broken. So no goal, but Crystal Palace looking dangerous early on, trying to break that offside trap that City have been so comfortable at kind of building across this season. I remember watching it early in the season away at Wolves, and I think it was the opening weekend of the season, and it was so clear the difference that Manchester City had such a high line, and it will be at full test tonight with the Palace attackers. Mateus Nunes, nice little turn to break away from Yeremy Pino, although didn't quite work out trying to play the ball forward, as the pass to Savinho was well out of play. Here is Tyreek Mitchell for Crystal Palace. Ball launched down the line, comfortably taken in by Mateus Nunes, and back by Bernardo Silva to Gianluigi Donnarumma. Well, of course, this is Manchester City's game in hand that they've had on Arsenal for quite a while. It's always been this City or this behind, and with a game in hand, well, after tonight, it'll be a level playing field again, at least until Sunday, when Arsenal take to the field once more to play their 37th and penultimate game of the season. Certainly of their league season, that is. Because they've got a final to look forward to, the Champions League final, on the 30th of May. Well, they would love to wrap up the Premier League. That'll set them up perfectly for a Champions League final. It's a lovely first touch by Savinho, but Semenyo comes across and he loses touch of the ball and trying to recover it. Hits it off Tyreek Mitchell and wins a Man City throw. It's a nice recovery there from Antoine Semenyo, whose first touch was far from a good one. Nicely worked there by Palace as the ball comes off Phil Foden. There was an early warning sign at Tynecastle as well between Hearts and Falkirk. Falkirk thought they'd taken the lead, but that's just been disallowed. So it remains Hearts 0, Falkirk 0. Remember, if Hearts lose tonight, then it is advantage Celtic going to Celtic Park on Saturday for the final day action between the two sides to decide the title. How incredible would that be? Final day showdown. Here is Ryan Ait-Nouri inside to Mark Gay, who of course the former Crystal Palace player. Mateus Nunes. Savinho rolls it in behind. Mateus Nunes clips it across, and a bit of ping pong between the two players as the last ball comes off Shady Canvo. Certainly the officials saw a corner, but they're claiming handball, Manchester City. No, there's nothing in that. That'll be harsh. It's down by his side. It's in a natural position. No question about it. It's a corner. Bernardo Silva was going to take it, but a change of tact here from City. Change of corner taker. It's going to be Phil Foden on the right hand side. Left footed delivery, swung in, header by he's right up into the air, not away yet though from the Palace box as Vardiol tries to keep it alive. Picked up by Bernardo Silva, swung in again, away by Richards. And Palace trying to break away, and that's Mateta. Lovely ball through the lines, and they're away here, Crystal Palace. It's Tyreek Mitchell. Lots of ground still to make up though. He plays it square to Daniel Munoz, and Palace decide to recycle possession rather than hit on the counter. Going to go long this time. Swung out to Mitchell on that left channel. He's tracked all the way by Mateus Nunes. And the ball had just crossed the byline. That's going to be a goal kick. I remember the moment that Crystal Palace beat Manchester City at Wembley last season, 17th of May, 361 days ago, winning Palace's first ever major trophy. Eberechi Eze with the winning goal, set up by Daniel Munoz. Of course, Eze, who is now of an Arsenal persuasion, hoping Palace can do the same or something similar to City tonight to benefit his new club. And a game that Palace took their chance and ran with it. City dominated the game, but Palace were the only ones able to find the net at Wembley last May and claiming their first ever major trophy. A day that they'll never forget. No doubt about that. And of course, they will commemorate it when they play Brentford on Sunday. A year exactly since that FA Cup victory. Corner here to City, left-footed ball in. Semenyo was the closest, but Munoz got his head to it to clear. City trying to fend off any counter-attack issues. Nicely done as Semenyo down the right here, charging at his man. Skips away from Lerma for the moment and took a deflection, which will allow Semenyo to get the ball rolling quickly from the corner. Foden, Nunes, Semenyo. Cut one out, and that one's cleaned away by Jefferson Lerma. The City pressure though building. Palace really can't get out at the moment. Here is Aït-Nouri down the left. Brennan Johnson in cover. Goes to the outside, Aït-Nouri, and Johnson sticks a leg in. That's going to be another Manchester City corner. Now on the left hand side of your screen, some confirmation of the number of games that we've got coming up for you on the penultimate weekend of the Premier League season. Aston Villa taking on Liverpool at Villa Park on Friday night, and then 2 Sunday games, 12:30 for Man United Forest and Newcastle West Ham, 5:30 on Sunday. That is all the exciting action we've got for you, as well as Arsenal's game against Burnley at home on Monday. That will be massively entertaining if, of course, City do drop points tonight, and then we'll see what happens on Tuesday night. There are 2 games to choose from on Tuesday, so we'll let you know in due course. But a very jam-packed last 2 weeks, it seems, of the season, with a lot on the line still, which is exactly the way we want it. Kushanov to Guehi. Back to Kushanov it comes. Nunes to Semenyo. Trying to get past Jefferson Lerma. Just about keeps the ball in. And then clips it off Lerma. As Palace look to clear. Semenyo chasing. Only allows them to win a throw in deep in their own half. Now City won 3-0 in the reverse fixture back in December between the sides. Erling Haaland with 2. And a Phil Foden goal as well. Sealed a 3-0 victory for Manchester City. They've actually won on their last 2 games against Palace in the league by an aggregate score of 8-2. They scored 5 in their last meeting here in April of last season in a 5-2 victory. Actually, they were 2-0 down in that game, Manchester City. Eze and Richards with the goals before 5 unanswered. With 5 different scorers from Man City, secured a massive victory that day. De Bruyne, Marmoush, Kovacic, McAtee and Nico O'Reilly all on the score sheet on that one. City claimed a massive home victory. Over the years, it's been a bit in and out between City and Palace here. You really haven't been able to predict the results between the sides. In the last 7 games at the Etihad, here, chance for Palace! Yeremy Pino strikes wide, took a deflection. I think they've actually given a goal kick. Well, it comes from a bit of City possession. Mateta again with a hold-up. Lovely flick round the corner. Finds the run of Brennan Johnson. He's got Yeremy Pino in the middle. Plays a beautiful ball across. And he just catches it on the volley. And it does take a deflection off Josko Vardiol. And they win the corner, but really nice counter-attack and play again from Crystal Palace. I told you that danger of that front 3. Already showing their threats. Early doors here. Corner to Crystal Palace. Their first of the game. And Will Hughes will take right-hand side. Right-footed or left-footed delivery from the right as Richards headed over. He wanted a deflection. He wanted a corner, but the referee said it came off Chris Richards last. That's going to be a goal kick. Yeah, he did really well there, Richards, to break away from his man and get a free header on the ball. And he just kind of looped it over the crossbar. Lerma trying to shield the ball, but Foden there. Done well. We're going to throw in here, City. Well, as I was saying about the recent history, since Crystal Palace won here 3-2 back in December 2018, City have only been able to beat Palace 3 times at home, 2 Palace victories and 2 draws between the sides over the last 7 meetings, including a 2-2 draw back in December of 2023 and Palace winning 2-0 in October 2021. City were down to 10 in that game. So they've certainly had their fair share of good results at the Etihad over the last few years, and if they replicate what history suggests, they've actually picked up points more often than they've lost at the Etihad in the last 7 meetings. If that happens tonight, Arsenal are quids in on Monday night. Guehi. Aït-Nouri. Mark Guehi. Swung ball to the far side. Savinho takes it down. Nunes back out wide to Savinho. Lots of gold shirts in the way. Nunes going for the switch. And Daniel Munoz got his body in the way there. Puts it out for a City throw, but isn't letting that one drop. Nunes. Bernardo Silva to Kushanov. Now across to Guehi. City recycling the ball well, but not much threat in the box as of yet. Aït-Nouri gets past Munoz. Richards with the header clear. Guehi will strike from range. And struck it well over the crossbar. Well, Mark Guehi, of course, formerly of Crystal Palace. He scored an absolute cracker, I think, away at Aston Villa last season in one of his last games for Crystal Palace, if you remember. Absolute screamer. Might actually have been early in this season, was it? He did. He scored early in this season. It was on deadline day, or around about deadline day. Early this season. That's how long this season's felt. It's been a long time coming. He scored that cracker away at Aston Villa for Crystal Palace all the way back in August. He tried another one there. There's Will Hughes fouling Mark Guehi, getting City a free kick. Bernardo Silva drifting forward, finding Foden. Couldn't find Semenyo, but Foden wins it back quickly. Nunes to Kushanov. Now Guehi. Kushanov. Come on City rings around the Etihad Stadium. Well, City would have been watching the screens on Sunday afternoon, hoping, praying West Ham could get something out of Arsenal. It was so close. And VAR disallowing that late West Ham equaliser. Could be telling. Savinho's ball across the box. Hughes was in the way. Told to shoot from range. He's going to shoot there, Kushanov. Should have betted against it. Wasn't the right option there. Well off targets. And Arsenal doing to City what City have done to many's a team over the years. Reeling them in, thinking they're going to get something out of the game and snatching it late on. We've seen City do that multitude of times over the years. You remember the great Leicester moment, Vincent Kompany absolutely rifling one into the top corner to win City the title back in 1819. Remember the great comebacks here against Aston Villa on the final day in 21-22. Villa were 2-0 up in that game. City would come back to win 3-2. They only needed a draw on the final day. Came back and won and broke Liverpool hearts on the final day. So they've certainly had their fair share of final day drama, Manchester City. And they just hope they'll get another chance at that this season to claim another famous title under Pep Guardiola. A quick update from the Scottish Premiership with a huge goal to tell you about at Fir Park between Motherwell and Celtic. Now remember what I told you, if Celtic lose tonight and Hearts win, Hearts will be champions tonight. And we can tell you that Motherwell have taken the lead against Celtic, so it's Motherwell 1, Celtic 0. It remains 0-0 at Hearts, so at the moment Hearts won't be champions, but they will be very, very close. Here is Savinho, down the right side, has to cut it back to Nunes. Square to Bernardo Silva, the way through Will Hughes there. Kushanov worked back to Donnarumma. Well, it's been very one-way traffic in this game, all bar a few Palace counter-attacks. It's been City that have had control of the game, over 80% possession, but to this point, no real sign of a breakthrough for Manchester City. Now the side have had a shot on target. There's been a lack of creativity up front from City, really. It's been a lot of possession in and around Palace, but not much movement in between. Not really seen much of Foden. I don't think we've even seen Marmoush in the game as of yet. That's beautiful though from Aït-Nouri, who struck it wide. First real bit of quality link-up play, and it all came from Mark Guéhi drifting forward a bit further. Aït-Nouri breaking down the left-hand side, because he cuts it back, Guéhi linking it up. Vardiol finds it back to Aït-Nouri, who drives into the area onto his right foot and dragged it wide onto that side netting. But that was the first bit of incisive football that we've seen of City all night. Pep Guardiola frustrated, but that chance wasn't taken. Ooh, bit of nervousness there on the Palace defender in Maxence Lacroix, and he got away with it. Like Nuri was pressing. Maxence Lacroix gets a little bit lucky with Stuart Atwell. Gave him that foul. 20 minutes gone. Goalless at the Etihad. As every minute passes by, the more nail-biting, the more tantalising those Arsenal fans watching will be. As it's become a bit of a storm inside the Etihad all of a sudden. Rain absolutely hammering it down. Pep Guardiola's taking solace, putting his hood up, tacting his hair. Throw into Manchester City then. Albeit it has been City control, but as I said, there's just been nothing really to scare Crystal Palace so far. There's Palace are playing at the weekend. They play on Sunday away to Brentford, and then of course host Arsenal on the final day of the season at Selhurst Park. And then they'll have a trip to Prague to worry about. Sorry, Leipzig, apologies. Prague is next season, but Leipzig for the Conference League final against Rayo Vallecano, the Spanish side, on the 27th of May. Who knows what way it'll look on the final day. Arsenal could be champions by that point. Palace, if I'm really expecting anything, will probably play a weakened side in that game, so even if it does go down to the final day, the chances of Palace getting something out of Arsenal will be very unlikely if they've got a European final on the horizon. So that's surely probably why City's chances of the title are so slim. That gap they've to make up and the points that Arsenal have to drop to give City a chance aren't looking too promising. Tariq Mitchell around the outside as Mateta tried to make the run, but the flag was swiftly raised by the official on the far side. That's going to be a quick offside call against Crystal Palace. Halfway through the first half, still goalless here at the Etihad Stadium. Well, remember, if City don't win tonight, Arsenal have the chance to win the title on Monday night at home to Burnley at the Emirates, in an atmosphere that will be at fever pitch. If that was to be the case, it will be just quite poetic, really, for that to be the case. Arsenal with a chance to claim the title with a victory at home after waiting 22 years. It'll be just, as I said, poetic. Long ball there by Dean Henderson. Taken down by Yeremy Pino as Hughes just about keeps it. He was held back by Aït-Nouri. That's going to be a foul. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening for this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications if you haven't done so already. Thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with us for this one. So far no goals, but surely something is on the horizon. Certainly Palace have looked dangerous on the counter-attack. A couple of times they've got in behind City, albeit for the one they thought they'd crossed the line. They were offside in the build-up, but Yeremy Pino's chance, the best chance they've had. Ultimately deflected wide for a corner, but they've certainly on a few occasions been able to test City on the counter. Remember, if you do remember back to that FA Cup final, that's how their goal came about. A counter-attack down the right-hand side and an early ball into the box. Find a better Echieze. Palace giving away the possession cheaply here. Joshua Vordio. Bernardo Silva. Abdul Kadir Kushanov. Finding Matej Nunes. Nice work between Savinho and Nunes. Here is the Portuguese. And a back heel as Savinho chases, but that's closed off by JD Calvo and cleared up the line, but only as far as a City throw. Still very much in the Palace half. Foden. Drifting away from challenges as Tarek Mitchell sticks a leg in. That's out for another throw, but City getting a little bit more dangerous. Game becoming a little bit more open all of a sudden. Now, Phil Foden certainly has had his part to play in a few title wins over the years. Remember on that final day against Arsenal back in 23-24, he scored 2 incredible goals. I think it was West Ham they played at home and they won comfortably. They were 2-0 up within a couple of minutes, Manchester City, that day. There was no way in that final day they weren't winning. They were giving up the title. Phil Foden played a key part in that. It's mental how many final day memories there will be of City titles. That's the legacy that Pep Guardiola has been able to leave at this football club. Across the Premier League, so many incredible moments. Drama, filled title races. It's certainly something that isn't lost on us. Daniel Munoz trying to angle one forward. It's Mateta with the hold up. He tried to flick it round the corner for Pino, but not on the same page there, and City quickly mopped that one up. But if they get the ball to Mateta a little bit more, Palace, they can be very dangerous. His hold up play is really strong. If they use Brennan Johnson and Yeremy Pino either side of him well enough, get them into the right positions, they certainly can cause problems. Savinho down the right hand side, cuts right back onto his left foot, driving in field, just to square it across to Gehi. Aït-Nouri, Munoz quickly onto the scene and well cut out by Brennan Johnson, who's then fouled by Riyad Aït-Nouri, and that's going to be a Palace free kick. See, Aït-Nouri just overrun the ball, and as Johnson nipped in, Aït-Nouri just catching Brennan Johnson. Of course, he won a European title with Spurs last year in the Europa League. He would love to do that back-to-back. European titles with London clubs. That'll be some story. Mark Gehi with another chance to He's a chance to win back-to-back FA Cups with 2 different clubs, of course, on Saturday. That'll be another great story. And a story that it would certainly go down in trivia history. Which player was knocked out of the FA Cup and still won it in the same season? That'd be one hell of a quiz question. And of course, Mark, he was knocked out of the FA Cup with Crystal Palace at Macclesfield in the 3rd round. Then joined Manchester City and was allowed to play. Therefore, he could be an FA Cup winner back-to-back seasons, 2 different clubs, and was knocked out of the competition in between. Who would have believed it? Here's Josko Vardiol to Mark Guehi. Vardiol. Again, it is just very... I mean, it's strong defensive play from Palace. They're not giving up much space. They're not allowing City time to kind of get players into positions. Again, Omar Mamouche has been almost invisible so far. Very, very seldom involved. Bernardo Silva trying to unlock the door. As Nunes run into a few Palace players. Pino trying to carry the ball forward. Doesn't get very far for Crystal Palace. Again, just no way up the field for Palace at the minute. I mean, their main threat has been Jean-Philippe Mateta as the target man, but even that's been few and far between. Shanov as Palace drop a little deeper and City push a little higher. Mark Guehi. Well, one player you certainly turn to if you're Manchester City in these sorts of situations would be Rodri, of course, who's been previously at the heart of City unlocking such rigid, stubborn, hard to break down defences. He's of course not available tonight. We've certainly had midfield maestros galore City over the years to unlock the best and most stubborn of defences. We just need that injection of a bit of magic, a bit of energy, a bit of something. Semenyo's not really got involved. Savinho's got most touches, but nothing too major. Again, as I said, City haven't really done much to scare Crystal Palace, to put them in a bit of danger. Most they've done is probably work it out for a corner. They've so much creativity in the team, City, we're just not seeing it at the moment. Not just not the space for it right now. 30 minutes gone. We remain goalless, and there's another huge moment in Scotland. Remember, we told you about the scenario where Hearts could be champions tonight if Celtic lose and Hearts win. Well, Hearts have just scored. We believe they've just scored because it's been updated, but we're yet to find a score, so there could be a VAR check ongoing. But Hearts leading at Falkirk and Celtic losing. If it stays as it is, Hearts will be confirmed champions tonight. And that will be the first time in over 40 years that Scotland has had a champion other than Rangers or Celtic. It would be historic for Scottish football. Foden, lovely back heel. Semenyo! That's what Manchester City needed. A little bit of Foden magic. And a Semenyo finish delivers Manchester City the opener with arguably, I think, their first shot on target in what has been a pretty lacklustre first 30 minutes. But Manchester City sprinkle a bit of stardust with Phil Foden with a little back heel through the lines. And Antoine Semenyo, the only one alert to it. And he tucks past Dean Henderson. And Manchester City, with their first real chance of the game, have taken the lead. Absolutely beautiful from Phil Foden. As we see it here, the patience of City continues with a quick ball by Nunes into the path of Foden, who's just facing away from goal. Everybody chasing out the way. But Palace don't realise Semenyo's alert. He knows that Foden's got that in his locker. He knows exactly what Phil Foden's going to do. He gives them the eyes. The little back heel. Semenyo, quick as a flash onto the ball, and just rolled it into the bottom left corner. Beautiful reaction by Semenyo. Wonderful idea from Phil Foden. City 1, Palace 0. Game on at the Etihad. And Pep Guardiola breathes a massive sigh of relief early in this game. Well, Palace want to respond quickly, and that shot charged down by Donnarumma. It was Tyreek Mitchell that had the shot. We see this again. It's from the right-hand side. It's again a bit of bumbling in the midfield from City. It's Mateta with the ball. Plays it wide as Tyreek Mitchell, who broke free of any marker as he got a shot off Donnarumma to his right-hand side. Made a good save. As Palace won an instant response to going behind. They have their first shot on target of the evening. As Munoz takes this corner. Swung in, narrow but too close to the City goalkeeper, who looks comfortable. Here's Bernardo Silva. Phil Foden, fading pressure and then brought down by Will Hughes. Hughes checks up on Phil Foden, who should be okay, but I mean, I have to say, sometimes you need a little bit of magic. I said that City have massive creativity in this team. There's so many players that can do magical things. And Phil Foden is the one to come up with that magical moment. That lovely ball through the lines. So audacious, that finish. And that pass, shall I say. We can show you what that does to the Premier League table on the left-hand side of your screen. So it would mean, as it stands, City would go back to 2 points behind Arsenal, which would mean Arsenal won't have a chance to win the title on Monday night. They would have to wait until at least Tuesday. And if City were to drop points away at Bournemouth, then the title would be theirs. Otherwise, it would go down to the final day. That is, of course, if Arsenal beat Burnley, which is not always a given, but you would expect so, that Arsenal to beat Burnley on Monday night. Another goal in the Scottish Premiership. We'll tell you about that in a second, as City were in behind there. Marmoush again. Well marked out of the game. Richards with a long hoof away. Bernardo Silva picks it up. A bit more open now for City. A bit more energy about them. A bit more tempo in their play. All of a sudden. As I was saying, another goal in the Scottish Premiership. It's now 2-0 to Hearts. So they are, at the moment, cruising their way to the Scottish Premiership title. After Celtic were given a bit of a helping hand at the weekend. Back into the title race with their win over Rangers in the Old Firm. And Hearts dropping points on Saturday night against Motherwell, ironically. But as it stands, with Celtic losing and Hearts winning, the title will be done and dusted tonight. And there will be no need of any sort of added extra on Saturday. That is, of course, remember, if Celtic keep losing, that would be the case. If Celtic were to draw or win, then Hearts won't be champions tonight. They would need to do that on Sunday, or Saturday, sorry, on the final day. Mateta tried to spin away there as Guehi left something on his former teammates, and that's going to be a free kick. Just short of 10 minutes to go of the first half. Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace 0. Phil Foden opportunity, that through ball, finding Antoine Semenyo. Well, they took a punt in the double game week of Cherky and Haaland, and neither of them are playing. As here comes City again. Well, one back by Marmoush with a chance. Deflected behind for the corner by Lacroix. Well, the first time I've said Omar Marmoush's name all evening. It's Richards, gets far too comfortable in the middle. I mean, I don't know what on earth he's doing there. Far too easy to pick his pocket as he wins the ball. Breaks away to Omar Marmoush, cuts back inside JD Campbell, and Lacroix is just there in the nick of time before the Egyptian can get a shot off, and it's gone behind for a Man City corner. Palace looking more vulnerable. Foden swung in with the left foot, deep to the back post. Vardiol kept it alive, bounces down. Semenyo couldn't take it in. Now Palace want to spring away. Nicely cut out well by Kushanov. And Nunes plays it back to Foden. Nicely worked there by City. Really nicely done. Ait Nouri. Guehi. to Kushanov. Ball played around by City. That's a lovely through ball, finding Semenyo. Hughes couldn't stretch to keep it away from him. So the City goal scorer recycles it back to Mark Gahey. Nice Semenyo again. Gahey again. Wide now to Nuri. Body's in the box. Gahey will just recycle it across to Kushanov, shall I say. Marmouche just about keeps it alive. Bernardo Silva. One thing City certainly know how to do is keep the ball moving. They are passing machine, Manchester City. There is no question of that. He's actually going to go for the long diagonal. Beautifully taken in by Savinho. He waits for his moment, but Mitchell's got him all clogged up. And there's no way through there as Mitchell clears, but City will retrieve once again. Again, Palace just cannot get away from their own box at the minute. It's been like that for a while in this first half. By quite a while, shall I say, in this first period. Foden. Long diagonal switch, beautiful by Nuri to chest it towards Vardiol. He's playing with a bit of ease about them, City, at the minute. Find that second goal, and this could be a very comfortable night for the home side. The home side who've made some big changes to the team ahead of Saturday's FA Cup final. It's a lovely ball through the lines. Foden let it run. Marmouche on the half turn, and it's found the back of the net. 2-0 Manchester City, and Omar Marmouche makes it 2. Another wonderful little move. Foden left it for Marmouche, who on the half turn spun it into the bottom left corner and doubling Manchester City's lead. And that gives them a bit of headroom and comfort, and they don't even need Cherki or Haaland. No disrespect to those on the field, but City resting the big hitters and still getting the job done. Yeah, beautiful ball by Vardiol, and Foden it's kind of like just cushions it across, just guides it across the box to Marmouche, a little bit behind him, but he adjusts really well. Marmouche just takes it in his stride, waits for the ball, spins beautifully, and struck it clean and hard right across goal. Beautifully done. 2-0 Manchester City, and it's only what they've deserved in the last few minutes. And again, more celebrations from Pep Guardiola. Omar Marmouche. I said we hadn't seen much of him. Well, it seems like he's in a bit of a hot streak. It's back-to-back league goals for Omar Marmouche. He scored against Brentford here at the weekends, and he scored here again. Of course, the goal at the weekend was his first league goal since the 24th of January against Wolves at home. And these are just 2 of his 3 Premier League goals this season. Certainly not had an illustrious season as Omar Marmouche, but Phil Foden's having a great night. 2 assists for him on the night, and as it stands, it's not only points that are tightening, it's goal difference as well. It would be 42 plus 42 goal difference for the 2 teams at the top, albeit Arsenal, of course, with the extra 2 points, which are more important, but even goal difference could come down to question. And with City 2-0 up, they might want to add a couple more to that to give them a bit of a helping hand, as that Bournemouth game next week will be far from easy. We have a massive goal in the Scottish Premiership to tell you about. They're not going out without a fight, are the reigning champions, and Celtic have found a leveller at Fir Park. Dyson Maida has levelled it, so it is 1-1 there between Motherwell and Celtic, which as it stands would not settle the title tonight. Celtic would have to lose and Hearts to win to settle the title this evening. As it stands, there would still be a mathematical chance for Celtic to win the title on Saturday. I keep saying Sunday. City corner, taken short. Foden again! Oh, what a big save! Vardiol still not away as Gertie keeps it in. Back to Foden. Set up a couple. Might want to set up another here. Bernardo Silva! Couldn't get it on target. Well, Phil Foden was a massive Dean Henderson save away from a hat-trick of assists. Beautiful ball in. Vardiol. And a great save. Clutching at the save was Dean Henderson. Massive stop. Phil Foden is having a great night so far. Since he set up that first, he's really come alive as the Englishman. Of course, he's got a World Cup to maybe think about. Selection won't be too far away. Foden, he's going to try and beat the goalkeeper there from range. Didn't quite on that occasion as Semenyo. They're having a fun now, City. Savinho's doing keepy-ups. As that one's seen away by Lacroix. I mean, they're enjoying themselves now, Manchester City. From a pretty, I don't want to be disrespectful, a pretty dull first 30 minutes in the game. It has sprung into life in the last quarter of an hour of this first half. Nice tick on the turn by Silva, but no way through there. Hughes trying to carry it forward, looking for Pino on the run. He's got the better of Mark Guehi here for the moment, Yeremy Pino. Palace could be in. Ball played across, not quite finding its targets. And a rare Palace attack comes to a pretty premature end. Richards with the interception, but no one there to help out to keep the ball up the field for Palace. And the offside flag up against Brennan Johnson anyway. Last 30 seconds of the first half. As Nuri's gone down in a bit of pain. We will, of course, tell you more about the Scottish Premiership title race at half-time. We'll explain more details about the situation in Scotland during the break. This goal, the first goal, a beautiful, absolutely exquisite pass by Phil Foden. And a nicely taken finish by Antoine Semenyo, tucking it in the far corner. Then the second one, more of a cushioned pass this time, allowing Marmouche to do the work. Uses Mitchell to roll around him, and on the half turn struck the ball into the far corner. Beautiful connection. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half then. So not much to add on to this first half that has been pretty clinical for Manchester City. 3 shots on target, 2 goals. That's what you would say, pretty clinical. And Phil Foden setting up all 3 shots on target, so he is certainly the man to watch. Try and wrangle into control from Palace's point of view. Here's Ait Nouri. Ball did squeeze through, but Foden couldn't get there, and I think that's going to be the end of the first half. Well, a first half that started pretty slow, and in the middle section was pretty slow too, but the final 15 minutes, Manchester City came alive. Foden with 2 great setups for Antoine Semenyo and Omar Marmouche has Manchester City cruising at half-time, and it looks like Arsenal might not get their dream poetic scenario just yet. Half-time, it's Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 0. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Nice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
back to Premier League Live this Wednesday evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Those were the weekend results, if you haven't already seen them this weekend. But this game is, of course, City's game in hand on Arsenal. And at the moment, it is Manchester City who are leading by 2-0 at the Brick, which we can show you what that means for the Premier League table. It would mean that Arsenal won't be able to claim the title on Monday night, and it would possibly, at this rate, go down to the final day. Remember, if City win out to the end of the season, they would need Arsenal to drop points at some point in the final two games to win the title. At the moment, Arsenal 79 points, City 77 after 36 games apiece. Arsenal play their 37th game of the season on Monday night. And if City do drop points tonight, Arsenal could claim the title with victory on Monday night. That is what is at stake. That's the way it stands at the Brick, and even the goal difference is a level, 42 apiece on that front. But a quick update from the Scottish Premiership, as we told you. Remember, Hearts winning 2-0 at the Brick, 1-1 between Celtic and Motherwell, which means as it stands, Celtic will be 3 points behind Hearts, going into the final day of the season. They play each other at Celtic Park on Saturday. It would mean Celtic would have to win by a 3-goal margin on Saturday to claim the title if it stays as it is. If they win Celtic, a win of any margin would be enough on Saturday. It's that tight in the Scottish Premiership. And the Premier League title is not too different to that. And at half-time, City lead by 2-0. Second half is on the way next. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half at the Etihad on the way very shortly. A very wet Etihad Stadium as the heavens have opened. Aston Villa take on Liverpool in their penultimate games of the season in the Premier League on Friday night. That was moved, of course, from Sunday due to Aston Villa's involvement in the Europa League final next Wednesday. So at Villa Park on Friday night, 8 o'clock. And then the main event of the weekend, the 2026 FA Cup final, Saturday, 3 o'clock from Wembley. Will Chelsea or will Manchester City be crowned the FA Cup winners of 2026? We'll find out on Saturday afternoon. So, before all that though, City at the moment have a Premier League title race still to fight in. And at the moment, they are leading Crystal Palace by 2-0, which would get them right back in the mix with Arsenal ahead of next week's final week antics, in what could see the title go either to Manchester or to London in what would be a dramatic final week of the season. And this is exactly the way you want it, the title to go right down to the wire. And as it stands, City would be taking it to the full course. And remember, there is a possibility that City don't take it to the final day, because if they were to win tonight, Arsenal would have won on Monday and City would have dropped points against Bournemouth on Tuesday. Arsenal will be crowned champions on Tuesday night. That would be the way it would stand, but that is a long way away now. At least for the moment, City leading means Arsenal cannot win the title by their own margin until at least the final day. That would be the standing that we would have. And there's still a long way to go as we get back underway. Phil Foden certainly lit up the pitch in the final 10-15 minutes of that first half with 2 assists. Antoine Semenyo with the first goal, Omar Marmoush with the second. As it stands, City with a cruising lead, of which they would like to add more. Remember, if it does come down to goal difference or goals scored, that could very much be telling. And City at the moment would win on goals scored, as they have scored 6 more goals than Arsenal. Goal difference is exactly the same at the moment, with City winning by 2-0. So who knows, if Arsenal do draw, the title could come down to the final day. And certainly goal difference. And there's still a very slim scenario that City could nick it, which would be incredibly dramatic. Certainly incredibly exciting. And of course the final day is just 11 days away, a season that is certainly endured. And we've loved it all the way throughout. And it all comes to a conclusion next Sunday, the 24th of May. We will, of course, be watching on. City down the right hand side, no way through there, but they will win in the corner of JD Canvo. A reminder, we'll keep you right up to date with the happenings around further north of the Etihad, up in Scotland, at Tynecastle and at Fir Park, where the Scottish Premiership title is on the line. Corner then to City, start the second half. Phil Foden to take. Left-footed delivery away at the near post, and there was a foul in there anyway on Will Hughes by Mark Gahey. That's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. Now, Pep Guardiola is a bit more smiley and relaxed than he was at the 30-minute mark in this game. There's one thing. This is an incredible stat, by the way. Pep Guardiola has never gone successive seasons without a league title in his managerial career. That is an incredible record. And if he was to fail to win the title this season, it would be the first time in his managerial career that would happen. Of course, Liverpool are the current champions. There hasn't been 2 seasons in a row that Pep Guardiola has been City manager. City haven't won the title, and he's been managing since 2016. It's incredible. Well, a stat that City will certainly take a lot of comfort in coming into the night, and it will certainly help them at 2-0 up. They're unbeaten in the last 8 Premier League games against Crystal Palace. 1-5, drawn 3 since a 2-0 home loss back in October 2021. But of course, remember, they can't drop points tonight. They need a win. The record at the Etihad has been rock solid since the opening day, since that 2-0 defeat to Spurs on the opening home league game of the season. Man City are unbeaten in the last 16 games at the Etihad Stadium, which they've won 13 of. They've also opened the scoring in all 16, now all 17 of those games. Long kick by Dean Henderson. Into the midfield, it's Gahey that hooks it further up. City, as it stands, would have the best home record in the Premier League. This would be their 14th league win of the season at home. And they would have 45 points out of 18 home league games. That will be 1 more than Arsenal after level home games. Arsenal, of course, play their final home game of the season on Monday night. City's comes on the final day. Another corner here to Manchester City, down the left-hand side this time. Ranick Nuri will take. Left-footed delivery. Out swinger. Headed away by a Palace player in the mix there. Easily, quickly retrieved by Manchester City. They give it all the way back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. And this is a stat that certainly will catch the eye. Only Arsenal and Manchester City have won more Premier League away games this season than Crystal Palace, while no side has fewer draws on the road than the Eagles, who've drawn just twice away from home in the league this season. So it's either hit or miss with Crystal Palace. When they go on their travels, they either win or lose this season. And at the moment, they've been on the losing ratio as it stands, and it might get bigger here, because here's Phil Foden. Vardy Ultra the through ball. Richards cut that one out well. And again, hamper the possession quickly. Phil Foden. Bernardo Silva. Khrushchanov. Bernardo Silva again. City comfortable to just keep the ball moving. They did that quite a lot in the first half. That's beautiful from Savinho. Here's Omar Marmoush. He's had to come down the right channel to get some of the possession. He plays it back to Kushanov, who switches out to the left. Right, Nuri with a flick on. Vardiol did play the ball off Chris Richards there, but he had the last touch, so that's going to be a goal kick. It's going to be a yellow card coming out as well here. And it's going to go to Tyreek Mitchell for this challenge on Savinho a little moment ago. Yeah, he was quite late there, Tyreek Mitchell. Just trotted onto the foot of the Manchester City player. And that is going to be a yellow card for Tyreek Mitchell. The 6th of the season. Well, City had 10 shots, 75% possession. 3 shots on target in the first half. So a dominant first period from City. Their XG was 0.8, so it wasn't the most threatening first halves from City's point of view in an attacking sense, but they certainly were clinical. 2 goals from their 3 shots on target. And they want to keep improving and adding to that if they possibly could. And they put 5 past Palace here in the same fixture last season. They would love to do something of a similar similar level tonight. Guehi. Nunes. Down the right it goes to Savinho. Inside trying to link it up, but too much there to do for Marmoush as Hughes has his pocket picked, but bailed out by a centre-back in Lacroix. Now back to Will Hughes it comes. More space for Palace. Richards. Munoz. Not seen much of Daniel Munoz tonight, certainly in an attacking sense. It's one of his best qualities. Certainly that gut busting runs down the right channel when he's got the opportunity to charge down the right flank. Remember, that was how Crystal Palace scored their winning goal in the FA Cup when Daniel Munoz sauntered down the right hand channel. Here he is, Munoz. Going to clip this one forward, looking for Mateta. Held it up well. Pino. No room for Johnson to get through, and Vardiol battling, but he loses out. Hughes takes it down here for Palace. Johnson cuts it across. Lerma just run into Kushanov there. Nice City want to spring a break as Marmoush made the run in behind, but Dean Henderson had it all under control. Bit more of an open game all of a sudden as Richards will recycle back for Palace. City trying to counter the counter there on that occasion. Well, it'll be an incredible spell for Oliver Glasner if he was able to pull off what would be an incredible last 2 seasons for Palace. Coming into the job with no major trophies under his belt and the possibility to leave with 2 major trophies, an FA Cup and a European title. We're down as a hero at Crystal Palace. He already is regarded as one of their best ever managers for the job that he's been able to do. If he adds a European title to that, he'll probably go down as their best ever manager at Crystal Palace. Just the job that he's been able to do over the last 2 seasons with Palace. An incredible job that Oliver Glasner's done, and of course we know he will be departing the club in the summer. What a perfect send-off it would be to deliver a European title in the Conference League final in 2 weeks' time. Question would stand as to where Oliver Glasner would go next. That will be the big question mark. What will be next on his list? Bernardo Silva to Ryan Aitnouri. Now to Gurhi with the switch ball. Out to the far right side. Savinho cuts it back. Clip ball in by Nunes. Richards tried to head it clear, but it's worked its way out to Aitnouri here. Aitnouri at the byline, trying to cut it across, but that's going to be a corner. Daniel Munoz with the block. Palace under more pressure and City ready to make some changes. Prior to that, we're going to tell you about a huge goal in the Scottish Premiership, because we started the night with Motherwell taking the lead against Celtic and Hearts winning would deliver the title for Hearts tonight. Well, Celtic have turned it around at Fir Park, and Benjamin Negron has given Celtic the first lead of the night, which as it stands would keep Celtic within touching distance of Hearts, and a win of any nature at the weekend would see Celtic be crowned champions once again, and one of the most unbelievable comeback jobs that has ever seen. And Hearts with a chance to celebrate tonight, and for one moment they were champions as it stood, but as it stands now, the title race looks like it will go on to the final day. It's Celtic who lead by 2-1, Hearts 2-0 as it stands. That title would be going to the final day. Right, let's tell you about these Manchester City substitutions then. So they've made a double substitution at the moment. Mateusz Nunes and Joško Vardiol replaced by Nathan Ake and Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku is one of the City players who've shone in the last few games. Phil Foden's delivery with the left foot, he's shone tonight. Doku with the first involvement, trying to get involved here. Takes it down, a little bit loose with his touch. It's helped out by the recovering Bernardo Silva. As I was saying about Jeremy Doku, not been his most incredible season, but certainly a turnaround in form in recent weeks since that goal at Chelsea. He's been in fire in form. He scored in each and every game by the Arsenal game. He's been involved in a goal. He produced an incredible ratio. 5 goals and 2 assists in his last 6 appearances for Manchester City. Certainly finding his end product, Jeremy Doku. Foden squeezes that one through. Semenyo on the end of it. Back to Foden. Now playing it off. They're passing it around for fun, City. No way through. Doku. Marmouche, he's going to shoot now and drags it wide. Well, maybe a little bit too passive there, City. They had ample opportunity to take the shot a little earlier. Foden through to Semenyo. Semenyo does really well to find it back to Foden. He could have shot. I think Aitnouri could have had the shot, or was it Marmouche? He also could have had a shot. They all decided to pass. In the end, when Marmouche did have the effort, it was dragged well wide. Palace to make a number of subs here all in one go. I think it's 3 in a row incoming here for Crystal Palace. So some fresh legs for the visitors. Let's tell you about those subs then for Crystal Palace when I have the information in a moment. Excuse me. So Yeremy Pino, Will Hughes and Jean-Philippe Mateta have all been replaced by Ismail Assar, Adam Wharton and Jørgen Strand-Larsen. So some rotation in the Palace team. Going to keep all his players fresh. Here's Oliver Glasner. Strong options to bring off the bench. Wharton. Jefferson Lerma to Daniel Munoz. On the right hand side, little backheel by Ismail Assar, but that didn't find Munoz. Cut out by City. Back to Chris Richards. Maxence Lacroix. As we surpass the hour mark inside the Etihad, Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 0. Palace showing a little bit more endeavour here. Jørgen Strand-Larsen's running behind, trying to cut it across, but too close to Gianluigi Donnarumma in the end. Now the difference between Mateta and Strand-Larsen, I think he might have just been offside there, Jørgen Strand-Larsen, maybe just a half yard. It's a tight one. Difference is Mateta's more of a hold-up player, more of a target man. Stranlarsson can't be that runner in behind. Also can play that physical role, but more of a danger with those runs in behind, and already getting himself involved here. Doku. Ake. Across to Mark Gehi. City very sharp with their passing. Third goal would surely secure 3 points for Manchester City. But a 2-0, we've told you many times before, it's one of the most cliched phrases ever in football. 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline. You think you've got the game wrapped up, and one goal can change that. If City get a third, surely that will put it beyond any reasonable doubt that 3 points will be theirs. But at 2-0, Palace can nick a goal. This game might not be done and dusted, and with Palace's recent history at the Etihad, never say never. They were 2-0 down a few seasons ago. Jack Grealish and Rico Lewis gave City a 2-goal lead. Jean-Philippe Mateta, and then a late Michael Olise penalty got Palace level on the game. Here's Ismaila Sarr, right down the throat of the goalkeeper. He apologises to Stranlarsson for not making the pass, but again Palace showing more danger already, and it's a mistake by Bernardo Silva. He's trying to play it backwards to his defenders and nicked by Ismaila Sarr. He decided to shoot himself, didn't have the pace behind it really. A comfortable save for Donnarumma, but certainly showing more threat all of a sudden, Crystal Palace. Nice ball there by Foden. Out to Savinho. Got Camvo for company. Savinho finds Semenyo. Semenyo with the byline, clips it across. Will bounce for Doku here on the left-hand side. Gets his bearings. Doku meshes himself up against Daniel Munoz. Has to cut it back to Ait-Nouri. Noyake back wide to Jeremy Doku. Okay. Gehi, very direct through ball to Foden, who was bundled over, but the referee said it was a fair challenge, and now Foden does the exact same to Jefferson Lerma, but this time it's a foul. Manchester City give away the free kick. See it here. Good, strong challenge by JD Camvo, and then Phil Foden just bundles Jefferson Lerma over. Gets one back on his opponent. And that's a free kick. And as I was saying about that 2-2, Palace have come from that position before and found a result, and that will be maybe lurking in the minds of those that say this game might not be done and dusted yet. As I say, one goal could certainly change the dynamics of this match. Lay it on. I told you about Palace's away record. It's not great recently in the Premier League, just one win in the last 4 away league games. That was away at Spurs, ironically. But lost away at Man United, lost away at Liverpool, lost away at Bournemouth. In those other 3 away league games. And they've been more out than in, really, when it comes to away form recently, Palace. Their away form is pretty average this season, around about mid-table. If they lose tonight, this will be their 9th away league defeat of the season. They've won 7 away from home. There's only actually 2 teams that have won more away from home, as I said in the first half, Arsenal and Manchester City. And they have the lowest draws of any side on the road this season, along with Brentford, with just 2 away draws all season. If they were able to claim their 3rd away draw of the season tonight, Arsenal will be eternally grateful. "25 minutes to go then. Palace with a free kick here. Wharton takes. Swung towards the box, but that one's far too deep. And seen behind by Gianluigi Donnarumma, who watches it sail past him and out for the goal kick. Semenyo. Foden back to Gehi's. A bit of a sticky patch there under pressure. Gets rid of the ball, but Palace have seemed to have garnered more control of territory recently. City a bit more on the back foot in the last 5-10 minutes since those Palace changes. Just changed the dynamic of the game a little bit. City can still snatch a third, which is one of their big dangers. Even if you think they've got them on the back foot, he can kill you in an instant. And that's where Palace need to be very careful. They do want to fight back in this game, but at the same time, don't want to give City an easy path to a third goal. That would put it beyond a comeback's chance. Quick update from the Scottish Premiership. No goals to tell you about, but Hearts lead by 2-0 against Falkirk. And it's Motherwell 1, Celtic 2, which as it stands would see the title go down to the final day. At this moment in time, it would leave just 1 point between the top two in the Scottish Premiership. Hearts on 80 points, Celtic on 79, which would mean Celtic win against Hearts of any margin on Saturday. Celtic will be champions. Any other result, and Hearts will be champions. That game between Celtic and Hearts at Celtic Park Saturday at 12:30. And if it does go down to the final day, we will be doing that game, so we will let you know about that in due course. Because that will be our build-up to the FA Cup final on Saturday as well. Nathan Ake. Jeremy Doku a bit more inside this time, trying to create an angle for Semenyo, but well cut out by Richards. Wharton to Lerma. Oh, Lerma's little poke back into his own area was very dangerous. Lacroix mopped it up and Richards clears away. Header by Silva was a little bit awkward, but Foden cleans that one out and now finds Omar Marmoush. He's giving it to Savinho, plays it behind Foden, who does rescue City again, but went down. No challenge. Foul committed, said the referee. Adam Wharton pings one forward. That's a lovely ball through. Brennan Johnson swings one across, looking for Strand Larsen, but didn't get the spin back on the ball. That's behind for a goal kick. Certainly trying his best. They're certainly trying at Palace, but to no great joy as of yet. And they're looking, incredibly more dangerous than they did in the whole of the first half. It's just the end product's just not been there at the moment. They're certainly getting into more dangerous positions. And I kind of think it's the midfield substitution of Adam Wharton coming on and Ismail Assar, in that it's just a change of tact. Adam Wharton can be a bit more progressive than Will Hughes in a sense. And it just creates that extra passer through the lines that Palace didn't have in the first half, and an extra runner in Ismail Assar with fresh legs, as well as Strand Larsen. A bit of a change of tact of target man approach to runners in behind, and certainly they've got the options on the pitch to make that happen. Gehi, nice angled ball. Marmoush though couldn't find Aït-Nouri. Wharton finds Sarr. Sarr's ball wide to Munoz was cut out well by Ake. Bernardo Silva sends back to Donnarumma. 20 minutes to go then at the Etihad. City lead by 2-0. Antoine Semenyo and Omar Marmoush with the goals in the first half. That would, as it stands, get City within 2 points of the league leaders Arsenal going into the final 2 games of the season. And remember, City can win all they like, but they need Arsenal to drop points either at home to Burnley or away to Crystal Palace on the final day to have a chance at the title. Otherwise, Manchester City will be pretty much hamstrung and it's out of their hands. Wouldn't we love it to go down to the final day? Even if they both keep winning, it would still go down to the final day. Kushanov trying to measure one into the area. Half cleared as it drops to Doku. Edge of the box, Doku flicks it across. Away by Lacroix. Sarr takes it down. Nice reverse pass into Munoz, had gone central. Wharton sprays it out to the left side for Mitchell, looking for a pass. Not many options on there, as Brennan Johnson was offside, and Strand Larsen also was too. Mitchell, no choice there, no options. It's basic stuff really from Strand Larsen and Johnson there. Lazy centre forward play. And one thing I have to say, Ismail Assar is a player that certainly has had his fair share of big moments in the Premier League over the years. Certainly when he was at Watford, he was a demon. He was Watford's best player for a number of seasons in the Premier League. And I remember a goal he scored, I think he scored a couple of goals against Liverpool. Liverpool were cruising to the title and they were on this incredible unbeaten run, and they went to Vicarage Road and Ismail Assar tore them to pieces that night. Liverpool lost 3-0, and just remember that night of Ismail Assar just running the show. And it wasn't just his skill or his footwork or his finishing, it was his strength and dominance to dominate what was the best defence in Europe at the time. Brennan Johnson, well challenged by Guerhi, but I think the last touch was off the City player. And that's going to be a corner. That's one thing about Ismail Assar. It's not only his skill on the ball, it's just his shape, his body, his strength. It makes him such a dynamic player in the wide areas. And let's see what Palace can do from this set piece then. They've got a lot of height in there. Lerma, Sarr, Canvo, Strand Larsen, Lacroix. Lots of bodies in the mix if they want to target. No short of options is Brennan Johnson. He will take this corner. Left hand side for Palace. Fizz to the back post with the right foot, and too close again to Donnarumma. Talk about all the Palace options. We forget about Donnarumma in the area. That's the second or third Palace corner that he's just gathered comfortably. Dominant in the air and in his area so far tonight, Gianluigi Donnarumma. I think he's been pretty mistake-free, Donnarumma, since that mad moment against Arsenal here in that 2-1 win over the Gunners, where he kind of just handed the ball off to Kai Havertz. Let him have a free shot at goal. Certainly tightened up since then, albeit Golden Glove already past his clutches. This will be a 15th clean sheet of the season in the Premier League if he was to hold on here tonight, which would only be bettered by the Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya. I think we'll have 18 clean sheets if I'm not mistaken, after West Ham's win, the winner against West Ham at the weekend. As Palace make another change, it looks like Daichi Kamada is going to be coming on, and Brennan Johnson is coming off. It is. Yeah, David Raya has 18 clean sheets. So Donnarumma's 14 as it stands. Could be 15. Speaking of 15 minutes to go. And City going to make some more subs in a moment then. It looks like Mateo Kovacic and another unnamed City player who's getting ready on the sideline. Two more changes it looks like for Pep Guardiola's team, who only made that double change with Doku and Ake earlier in the game. 15 to go. City with 2 goals to the good. Really, at the end of the day, if they don't add more to the score sheet, City will still be very happy that a win and a clean sheet on the board, and still keeping that gap to City, or to Arsenal at the top, just to 2 points. Foden has to go all the way back to Donnarumma there. The Palace press. Donnarumma lumps forward. Semenyo used his aerial ability, but that's cut out by Wharton. Spar gets involved. No room for Strand Larsen through the middle. That bounces back to Dean Henderson, who hooks it up the fields. Sarr again uses his body, tries to karate chop that ball into Daichi Kamada's path. That's cut out well. Nice. Abdir Kushanov. No way through that time. Audacious little run from the centre back. Nice flick to find Savinho, who got the touch past Canvo, but the young French defender recovered well there for Crystal Palace. Game's in a bit of a lull state at the moment. City happy enough to just play it around and manage the game to a finish, and Palace is not having the cutting edge threat to try and take the game to City and put pressure on them enough. That's a lovely ball through the lines. Here is Semenyo. He's got options. Semenyo plays an awful ball across, and that's easy as you like for Adam Morton to recover, but City were in all sorts of opportunities there to open up, and Antoine Semenyo picked the most horrible of decisions. In terms of club stats, City are the highest scorers in the league. Actually, have had the highest average possession of the season. They've conceded the second fewest goals, only to Arsenal. They've had, of course, the second most clean sheets. This would be their 16th league clean sheet of the season. Only 18 to Arsenal would be bettered. Actually, Palace have kept 12 clean sheets. They're third on the list, so two sides that don't often give away many goals. And City going to make these changes then. As Omar Marmoush is going to make way. Ryan Cherky is coming on for him. Bernardo Silva's coming off. He's going to be replaced by Mateo Kovacic. This is his penultimate appearance at home. A City player, of course, in his career. So Marmoush and Bernardo Silva off. Mateo Kovacic and Ryan Cherky are on. So I would suspect Pep Guardiola is going to give Erling Haaland the night off, which is very unusual. And I'm sure a few FPL players will be very unhappy with that, but very expected, considering an FA Cup finals on the way in less than 3 days' time. What is it now, 60 odd hours? Semenyo trying to break through. Stolen away by Richards, but it's picked up quickly by Savinho on the right. Just over 10 minutes to go. City trying to push for a third. Kovacic. Wide it goes to Savinho. Works it back to Kushanov. Now Gehi. Looks like Semenyu's gone central for City. With Marmoush obviously coming off. Doku stays on the left. Savinho on the right, and Cherky just in behind, along with Phil Foden. Maybe actually Foden might drift forward too into that central position. So a bit more of a fluid attacking line for Manchester City. Oh, a mistake here by City at the back. An opportunity for Crystal Palace. It's going to be a possible foul. It's actually going to go the opposite direction. Referee's going to say simulation against Daichi Kamada, and he's going to get a yellow card. Well, he went down there hoping and praying for a penalty, and the referee says not a chance. Let's see it again. It's Donnarumma. Said about it being mistake-free recently. Well, that was a horrible ball forward. Kamada there to pick it up. He just collides with Mateo Kovacic. The referee sees his antics. He went down very easily there, Daichi Kamada. Don't know about a dive, it's a bit harsh, but he definitely went down a bit easily. That's his third yellow card of the season. Let's tell you a quick update from the Scottish Premiership, as Graham puts any score updates. No changes in the scores, by the way, in Scotland. It's still Hearts 2, Falkirk 0, Motherwell 1, Celtic 2, which as it stands would see the title go to the final day. It would be 1 point between the top two. Hearts would still lead the way. Celtic would have to beat Hearts on Saturday as it stands to win the title. Any other result and Hearts would be champions. Right, more changes. John Stones is going to get a run out here for Manchester City in his penultimate appearance for Manchester City at the Etihad. Looks like Phil Foden's going to make way for him. And Nathaniel Klein has come on for Palace's fifth and final change. And Daniel Munoz has made way for him. So both sides making all options for changes. And John Stones will get the captain's armband. And Phil Foden being replaced. Phil Foden, who's turned this game around for City. He is the one that bursted into life in that little 8-minute spell in the first half. Set up the first and the second for Semenyo and Marmoush. And his magic and his little sprinkle of stardust is what has delivered 2 wonderful goals for City. But as it stands, would deliver 3 massive points in the title race. Morton, little clip ball over the top. Strand Larsen hanging off the back of the defenders and skied that one over the crossbar. Well, that was a beautifully taken first touch by Strand Larsen, but he just kind of got a bit excited there as he got the shot off and put too much behind it, leaning back a little bit. Maybe just lost his balance a slight bit and skied it over the bar. Missed opportunity there, but Wharton certainly made a massive difference for Palace since coming on. Massive difference. Ooh, Doku there a little bit loose. City have been a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more kind of dangerous with the play. Oh, that's a lovely little skip by Ryan Cherky. They're away here, City. Ryan Cherky wants to go all the way. Plays it through for Savinho, who adds the third. Beautiful from Savinho. But what a run by Ryan Cherky. The little skip over the man. Charge forward. No one anywhere near him to close him down. And played a delicious ball through the lines for Savinho to sweep onto and find the far corner. 3-0 Manchester City. And that is going to put beyond any doubt of where the points are going. 3 goals, 3 points for Manchester City. And Savinho adding the third. And that is, believe it or not, well, believe it because it's true, it's his first Premier League goal of the season for Savinho. That's an incredible stat. He scored just 3 goals for City all season. They've both come in the Cups, in the FA Cup and the League Cup. But this is his first league goal of the season, and it has come at a very crucial time for City when they need everybody to step up. This ball, this run from Cherky and this pass is sensational. I mean, there's literally a needle's width of difference in that pass. He threaded that through beautifully. And the 2 Peps, Linders and Pep Guardiola, celebrate like that was the winning goal. And it was the goal that surely will certify the win and set up what will be a cracking final week of the season. City want to add more. Semenyo just nicked away from him at the last second. Kovacic now. 5 minutes plus additional time to go. City 3, Palace 0. And there's a huge goal in the Scottish Premiership to tell you about, because remember we told you that if Celtic win and Hearts win, it goes down to the final day and it's advantage Celtic, because if they win the title no matter what. Well, a draw for Celtic wouldn't quite do that. A draw is what is on the cards now, because Motherwell have scored an equaliser. Liam Gordon in the 85th minute has made it 2-2, which as it stands would still keep the title going to Saturday, but it would mean Celtic would have to win by a 3-goal margin against Hearts on Saturday to claim the title. Any other score, even a Celtic win at 2 or 1-0, would still deliver the title for Hearts on goal difference. Incredible. That's the way it stands. 2-2 there. Very different result here, though, incoming for Manchester City. Doku, Cherky, clips it over the top again. Savinho! Oh, just wide. He wouldn't have bet against it. Another incredible ball by Ryan Cherky. I mean, the pitch is his stage, and he absolutely glides around it for fun, Ryan Cherky. I mean, well, Savinho's not in a good way here. He might have hurt himself when trying to put the ball into the back of the net there. He's gone down with a bit of pain with his left leg, so there is a stoppage for the moment. That might not be a great sign for Manchester City because they've made all 5 changes. Quick look at the table, by the way. So the points haven't changed, obviously. City with 77 points, Arsenal with 79, but City at the moment would have a 1 better off goal difference, 43 to 42, after level games. Now remember, Arsenal will play their penultimate game of the season, their last home game of the season on Monday night. They can't claim the title there now because it's mathematically impossible. But, and I say but, if they were to win by a high margin, they might have a goal difference advantage over City coming into that final few games of the season, which could be massive depending on what happens. So still all to play for massively, but City at the moment would have the goal difference advantage by one goal difference. Even if it was level at plus 42, City would still win the title on goals scored, which has never happened in Premier League history. A goals scored title win. Goal difference, not goals scored. Another goal in the Scottish Premiership. Hearts maybe have heard about that that Motherwell goal and thought, why not add a bit more comfort to our win on our final home game of the season? Well, they've added a third. It's now Hearts 3, Falkirk 0. So Hearts trying to make their goal difference as good as they possibly can, because remember, as it stands, Celtic would have to win by a massive margin against Hearts at the weekend night to secure the title. Everything is going in Hearts' favour right now, this second, for them to break what is a 4-decade record in Scotland of the old firm winning the title. Either one of the two of them winning the title. And as it stands, that would come to an end if Hearts were to claim it this season, obviously. 3-0 to Hearts, 2-2 in the Celtic game, which as it stands would see Hearts all but there, really. Celtic would have to have an incredible comeback to certify the title at Celtic Park, but they have to find a winner, Celtic, if they want to keep it in their hands. At the moment, not quite doing that. Cherky, lovely. Now out Nuri, out wide it goes to Doku. City want to add more to this. Beautiful from Doku, finding Ait Nuri, even when he didn't know it. Ait Nuri battling to the byline, and they get it across, but not enough pace on it to cause any threat. And it's comfortably gathered by Dean Henderson. Last minute of the 90. City 3, Palace 0. Right, Ait Nuri stayed off the pitch, so he's in pain. So City are down to 10 for the moment. The referee doesn't have to stop the game because Ait Nuri's off the field. So we play on. I'm sorry to say, but I'm putting the Celtic game on on this extra screen because I want to see what's happening in that last couple of seconds then before we find out how long will be added on at the end of this game. Here are Palace. Lerma feeds one through here. Strand Larsen plays it through. Ismail Assar carried a little wide. He has to work it across, and too close. Too easy for Donnarumma. And we will have 5 added minutes at the end of the 90 here at the Etihad. Ake. Doku. Kushanov to Doku. Beautiful ball by Cherky, but on too much for Savinho, and he's gone down again, Savinho. He's not able to continue, it looks like. He went down a few minutes ago, and he's gone down again here, Savinho, in real pain. He couldn't even chase after that ball. That's an issue. Goal difference is a massive swing in Scotland because Celtic's is plus 29, Hearts is plus 35. So Celtic would have to win by 4 clear goals now to have the goal difference advantage. Or it could be 3 clear goals. It would come down to goals scored because Celtic would have a better goals scored ratio. That's mental. That is mental. Crazy. Jesus, Motherwell have a chance to win the game. Jesus, that would end the title tonight, remember. It's the last thing that Celtic need. We'll keep a very close eye on it to see what happens. I'll confirm the details for you in a moment. 3 minutes to go then, here at the Etihad. And one of those nights where City haven't been at their best. They've made some changes. They've made some tweaks to the lineup ahead of this FA Cup final on Saturday, and they've just been able to get the job done. They've been relying a little bit on individuals, but sometimes you need individuals to get you over the line. You need your squad to get the job done, and City have, I mean, there's no better team than Manchester City to show you how the job is done. At the moment, making comfort and easy work of Crystal Palace in the end here at the Etihad Stadium. Just 2 minutes of added time to go. Can't take my eyes off the Celtic game. I really can't. Kushanov. Guehi. Semenyo. This ball being topped around. Reminder for you, our next Premier League game is Friday night, Aston Villa against Liverpool in the penultimate weekend of the season. As Aston Villa face a Liverpool side, both sides chasing 4th place really in the league. Here's Semenyo. Cuts it back. Cherky brought down in the box. Nothing claimed there. Right, Nuri works it back to Doku. Shot was blocked. Cherky plucks it from the air. Such a tight space, still finds the pass. Incredible. Incredible. Doku. Cherky prods it tight. Nuri. Beautiful play by City. Toying with Palace. Kovacic. Switch ball. Semenyo with a heavy touch, and that's seen away by Tyreek Mitchell. Last minute of the 95. Absolutely excellent again, City. Absolutely excellent. I have to say, even if they don't win the title, they've done a very, very good job at clawing this season back. Phil Foden wins player of the match, as expected. Set up the first 2 goals. He's been an incredible addition to this City team tonight. Might snatch a late goal here, Palace. Wharton. Ball out to the left-hand side. Here's Kamara. Kamara onto his right foot. Shot was blocked, and calls of handball there, but goes out for a goal kick. That's all over at Hearts and Falkirk. And is there a possible penalty at Fir Park? Could be something on here. Well, VAR are checking something. I'm not too sure what it is, but they're checking something. We'll tell you in a minute, because Palace have a corner here. There is a VAR check for a possible penalty. Corner delivered in by Palace, comfortably gathered by Donnarumma. 5 minutes are up here at the Etihad. Surely that could finish it. It's all over there. I have to turn over to this Celtic game. I don't know what's going on here. There might be some late drama at Fir Park for Celtic. It's a penalty to Celtic. Can you believe it? Why, goodness me. I'll tell you about the City game in just a second. But we told you about this Scottish Premiership title race. We said if Celtic draw tonight, they need to beat Hearts by 3 or more goals at the weekend to win the title. they win tonight, it's in their hands, and any win against Hearts on Saturday would claim the title. They have a penalty in the dying seconds of the game at Motherwell. 2-2. And it is a chance to win this game, to very much keep their title hopes in their hands for Celtic. Looks like Liam Scales is keeping a hold of the ball. It's real chaos here because they're not happy. Yellow cards flying out for the Motherwell players. We'll recap the City game in just a second. I do apologise, but we can't leave this. We've been following the Scottish Premiership games all night, and we can't leave it right now. Well, it's handed off by Liam Scales to Kelechi Iheanacho for Celtic. Scored in their last away league win. Scored in the last 2 away league wins. Kelechi Iheanacho for Celtic. Way at Dundee and at Hibs. Can he do it for 3 in a row to give Celtic a chance of the title at Celtic Park? He scored, and Celtic have stolen it in the dying seconds at Fir Park. Motherwell thought they were snatching 2 points. Hearts thought they were going to have all the advantage going to Celtic Park on Saturday. They're flooding the pitch, the Celtic fans. They win on Saturday. They are the champions again. That is what is at stake here. An incredible late winner from Kelechi Iheanacho from the penalty spot has surely given Celtic all the helping hand they would ever need to try and win the title. Unbelievable. This will go down as one of the best title races we've seen in a long time in any league, anywhere. It's been a 3-horse race for a long time. Celtic have been probably the third in that 3-horse race for a long time. But as it stands, they will go into the weekend with a chance of any sort of win at home against Hearts, and they will be the title winners. Fabulous penalty by Kelechi Iheanacho. Wonderful penalty. Celtic have won it 3-2. Beautiful penalty. What a moment, though. What a high-pressured moment. And a coolly taken penalty by Kelechi Iheanacho. A third game-winning away victory goal for Martin O'Neill's Celtic. Absolutely incredible story. Unbelievable stuff. That is sensational. Can you believe it? Well, we'll be watching at Celtic Park on Saturday then to see if Celtic can pull it off and stop Hearts from claiming the title. A win of any sort for the Hoops, and they're the champions of Scotland again. Incredible. Absolutely incredible scenes. Let's recap this City game then for you. Incredible game for Manchester City. 3-0 victors against Crystal Palace. Omar Marmoush was on the score sheet, as was Antoine Semenyo, and later on Savinho, set up by Ryan Cherky. A 3-0 victory for City, which keeps them very much in the clutches of Arsenal. We'll tell you about that. We'll actually show you the table right now, because it makes it a very intriguing last 2 games of the season in the Premier League title race. As it stands, City will be 2 points behind Arsenal at the top. Arsenal would still have to drop points in either one of those 2 final games, but if City keep winning, they keep themselves in with a chance on the final day to steal the title from Arsenal at the death. Incredible scenes there. 2 points between the top 2 with 2 games to go. Lots to look forward to. Quick look at what's to come. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Aston Villa taking on Liverpool is our next Premier League offering for you. Friday 8 o'clock at Villa Park. And then on Saturday at 3 o'clock, it's the 2026 FA Cup final. Will it be Chelsea or will it be Manchester City? We'll find out at Wembley Saturday 3 o'clock on LFS. Before that, though, what has been confirmed in just the last few minutes, Celtic have the chance to snatch the title from Hearts on the final day with a win at Celtic Park against Hearts. What an incredible final day showdown it will be at an incredible... I mean, I genuinely can't believe what I've just seen. Unbelievable moments. A dying embers penalty. But for City, they're still in the mix. Arsenal will have to wait at least until next Tuesday for a chance to win the title. They had the chance of City to drop points tonight to do it on Monday night, but City get the job done like they know so often, so comfortably previously how to do. They've done it again tonight. City 3-0 winners, and they're still very much in this title race. It's English and Scottish title races to look forward to in the next week, and we cannot wait. Thanks for your company tonight. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.